I remember being more excited for Two Point Campus in the build up and announcement phase, way more than I was for Two Point Hospital. See, Hospital for me was just a remake. It was a blooming great one, don't get me wrong. I played the hell out of that and bought all the DLCs for a reason, but during that announcement stage leading up to launch, I always had that it's just a remake thought in the back of my mind. See, I'm nearly 40, and I'm one of the lucky sods who had a decently paid dad who was into PC gaming, so I grew up with Transport Tycoon, SimCity, Theme Park, and Theme Hospital. The latter being one of my favourites out of the Bullfrog days, bar Dungeon Keeper. But running a hospital with wacky, full-on British tongue-in-cheek illnesses was great, but it was time for something new and fresh, right? And there was a load of speculation with 2 Point's next release. I know a load of folk wanted another theme park or dungeon type game, maybe even an office or apartment designer, or dare I say prison one. That seems to be a touchy subject for some. But 2 Point went with a school idea or college/uni idea, and I was really excited for it before launch because it was so original. It was unexpected and it should have been great, right? Well, for most, I'm sure it is, but for me, it fell way short of the required pass mark. See, the gameplay is pretty much the same as others. You are tasked with building up a school campus, you choose what subjects you will teach there, the campaign sort of dictates those for the most part as you go through the specialist schools. There's science, robotics, food, sports, general knowledge, music, and critical thought, which I think is meant to be psychology. But you also get the fun, wacky ones like night school, where everyone is a knight in shining armour. You have Hogwarts with magic and dark arts training, Spy School where you have to train up the next James Bond, Clown School where you train up clowns to keep the money rolling in for recovery at 2 Point Hospital, I guess, and Cancel Culture, which sees everyone turn into Travolta from Grease, along with Archaeology where you dig stuff up for loads of money. But after your course is chose, all you do then is build up your rooms, hire staff, and complete objectives. Standard stuff, really. The rooms have to be a certain size. Often you will need a bit more room to fit things in. They still have a prestige value, which is no longer capped at 5, so often you get the needy kids asking you to get it to either a value of 7 or 9, and rooms now even have capacity values depending on size, like a dorm, which it's often best to get to, say, increments of 50 capacity, but rooms like lounges, you would say want 8 people max. There is a lot of tinkering to be had with room sizes, and min-maxing is still on offer here, but I did find it a much easier game than Hospital in that aspect. And it's mainly because you slowly start to realise how the course system works and how you are dictating the maximum number of students you have via intakes per year. See, every class holds a maximum of 8 students regardless of size. So why would you ever have intakes of 10 like it is at default? I do feel like the designers were trying to catch you out at first. It's almost like a pay attention here everyone tactic, but I just find it unnecessary, really. I do feel the levels of classes should be in increments of 8, because you don't really get to go even up to 16 students a yearly intake until the course is at level 3, as it goes up in increments of 5 or 6, and most courses pretty much run amazingly at that level, and it's often not wise to up them past that, really, unless it's something like robotics, sports, or nights, because of the lower returns and rooms not being self-contained. There is some unity in certain classes, like science being one of my favourites on most levels, as it interacts well with clowns, archaeology and gastronomy especially. And those chefs will consume the food they cook or even gift it to hungry students, meaning you can skim early game on food stalls. And the archaeology classes unearth loads of items that can be sold off, earning you fortunes. Add on a money wrangler course with the poshos paying you every time they level up. And your money here after the hard first year just constantly tricks in, and I was never in any danger financially at all. I found this game way too easy money-wise, and the fact you only pay for stuff during the school year, teachers and staff don't seem to get paid during the summer break, means you can manage everything way easier than hospital. Often in hospital you'd get an influx of patients you weren't ready to deal with, and it would force you to act fast and expand, giving you a lot more to manage. But here you just do it in yearly increments, and there's no real emergency or challenge. Often here I would find myself having no input or interaction during the yearly process. The classes would tick over, my bands would come in during a set schedule, parties were set as part of a schedule, and I would be sat here bored, waiting for my caretakers to tidy up and give me a couple more % attractiveness, or I'd be waiting for my staff to train in the Joe 90 Centre so as the campus level would increase once again. I found the level 3 campaign targets to be the most egregious, as they were just boring wait around do nothing check marks like get 4 clubs to level 5 or get 500 students to a party. The game basically played itself after your 3rd, 4th or even 5th year, and I was just sat at my computer like Donnie from Big Lebowski, like, why was I even here? I was sat on my phone during the play sessions playing something else like Sonic Forces, and that to me is bad game design. It was almost like they ran out of ideas for objectives as the game went on. Shall we add happiness of 80% here along with make profit of 100,000 a month, or should it be attractiveness of 80%? No, let's add a campus rating of 35, or get 100 students an A grade, that one will do again, yeah. The objectives were the ultimate definition of spam. You could play objective bingo before it loaded up. They were so common, and I never felt that in hospital. Maybe it's because of the nature of that one as opposed to this, since you're always sort of upgrading and expanding there with a revolving patient door as opposed to the controlled nature of set student numbers. Next time I hope they change that or improve it with the DLC. I played this on Game Pass, so doubt I'll ever play those, but some changes do need to be made. The ones which I'm glad to see though are the item spam caps. See, in hospital you could add items which grant better prestige like the 5-star plaques and training or diagnostic buffs to always get the best results. But here they limited to 3, and that is a welcome buff for min-maxers like myself, as it forced us to change our tactics and room styles. Now, I completed this before I watched some of Pinstar's room layouts. He does a blooming great job, but most of mine were basically his anyway, bar the student lounge, student union and dorm room. His dorm layout especially is top class, but the science labs, gyms, robotics, computer room, I did my own for those, and his looked very similar. It's almost like you can't spam, so just go for what works, and I do like the changes there. I also love the fact you can build your own campus buildings and edit them. They aren't just static anymore. That is amazing. No longer are you stuck with blocked off areas of the building no one accesses because of the way you lay out your rooms. You can just edit the building and chop that part off. No longer are you left with loads of open expansion area and forced to buy another plot of land. You can just expand the building out and customise it to your rooms. It's amazing. And you can even put multiple doors on the building also to funnel people around easier. There were so many times during hospital when I played it that I wanted to do that. And so as soon as I realised you could, I edited everything, and the last level especially, where you have to custom build a school from scratch, got me really excited, as I could let my creative juices flow, designing a campus with a science area, training area, gastronomy area, money wrangling area, and sports area. And I still had a ton of room left. If I didn't hit the level 3 goal, I would have gone on to build archaeology there also. The last level 2-point uni was my favourite from a creative aspect, but it also did suffer from lack of input from me, the most in terms of the school year cycle, as I completed everything during the summer, then just let it run, doing the tidying up after the kids or washing up in the kitchen, because the only needs that pop up late on are those level up rooms, it seems, or get this band to play here goals. Now there are 4 pretty big aspects of this game that I clocked pretty early on, and they are huge ones as a min-maxer, and that's the medical room, the counsellor, the private tutor, and the fact there is no canteen. So the last one first. Hospital had a canteen, and you learn pretty early on that it is useless. It's a useless room that did grant a big buff, but only when it was used as a staff room instead of for the public, as they would waste time going there instead of being diagnosed, treated, and then skedaddling out the building. Everyone basically didn't bother with a canteen, but this game would have been perfect for one. And that's because of the school year granting more downtime, giving students and staff time to eat and get those juicy bonuses. And what school doesn't have a canteen? Its omission is very strange, and I hope they do bring one in during later patches or DLC. Then we have the private tutor, counsellor, and medical room, which don't add much to the overall proceeding to warrant rooms in their schools. Often if I added one, it was just to get the level up bonus. They help the students early game, but early game especially, you don't want one, as you don't want to pay for one, and they take the downtime of the students away from their needs. So if they are hungry or need the toilet, they will wait at the private tutor, counsellor or medical room, forming a large queue instead of sorting themselves out. And so what happens then is they are forced to go to classes with desperation debuffs and think about quitting, giving you a timer to sort them out you often can't meet, or they refuse to pay tuition fees, and so you're left scratching your head as to why the rooms are even here. If a student has bad grades, often the library or upgraded lecterns and staff and required rooms will advance them, so there is no need for private tutors. The counsellor and medical needs that the students get grant a 15% debuff to happiness, so can be a pain for certain happiness goals, but they leave at the end of the school year. So just wait for it to disappear and you gain the tick on the objective after it. They also stop your students from gaining worse traits, so sometimes it's beneficial to have someone limping around the building because it can't get any worse. And so you see there is no point to them whatsoever. And that is one thing I hope is patched, as currently the game is way too easy. And so you don't have to build any of those rooms or interact with them systems because it's just not beneficial enough to do so. Now, overall, I did enjoy this game, sort of. I have very mixed feelings about its systems and mechanics, especially towards the end. I did feel like I was just plodding along with it to get it done for this critique, as I wanted to see how it progressed, and It was unfortunately not for the better. I also want to say how the state-funded schools here, the ones which are supposed to be midterm challenges like the NHS hospital was, to me was a massive disappointment. I honestly found Hogwarts to be the last challenging level I played. In fact, the game after Hogwarts was a breeze, and that's like level 3 or 4 of 10, I can't remember, but the state-funded schools here where you only earn money per level up on a student is easily bypassed with science and general knowledge. Same as party school where you only get paid on happiness. General knowledge starts, whittle it down to 16 students later, go science and clowns, and you get no happiness problems whatsoever, so earn loads of money. That is my biggest disappointment and takeaway from this game, I feel. I found it way too easy to complete. I did a school a day except for the last one, which took 2, and that was only because of the level 35 campus cap. Hopefully patches and DLC can improve certain aspects, and I might try this again in 6 months' time or a year from now on Game Pass to see if it's any different, as long as it's still there. But for now, I'm done with it and would rather go back and play Hospital, as it was more of a challenge and had better engagement throughout the entire experience. 2 Point Campus doesn't even get a passing grade from me. So hey everyone, future me here, editing this in after. I just want to say this critique was written before patch 1.5, but edited after it, as I actually finished this game 2 weeks before that patch, and I'm hoping it introduced a better system for dealing with the pupils' needs whilst they are waiting for medical or counselling. It also introduced some more outdoor items for you to explore, but I'm done with the game and won't be coming back. I just thought I'd let you know some things stated here might change in future, but mostly my critique of what I played remains the same. So please subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it anyway. Thanks for watching.